Alrighty then. Hello, everybody. It's Susan from Unstoppable Women in Business here with you again today in a new edition of the LinkedIn Live chapter for Women Running Funnels. It is so good to be here. Today's topic is one that is like I am so passionate about this. Every woman that I work with, I talk with them about speaking and how speaking, more than anything else, as far as top of funnel activities, can maximize, in essence, your ROI on your time. You know, as women entrepreneurs, we have a million things that we have to do. And there's only so many hours in a day that we're willing to be able to do them within. And so the question is, where do you get your best bang for your buck? Where do you get the opportunity to spread your word, not how many people you're speaking in front of, but actually how do you get the opportunity to deepen a relationship in a way that you can do it in a one-to-many capacity? Speaking is one of those things that really fills the bill for you. So I'm glad you're here today. If I'll just remind everybody, Women Running Funnels is a LinkedIn show that I do every Wednesday at noon. I would love to have you on as a guest if you are someone who either helps people run funnels, or if you run funnels within your own business and you found a way to do it that is interesting and you have a very unique perspective on it. Love to have you on to chat. So here we are. We're talking about speaking today and why speaking is one of the things that I believe really helps increase visibility, get more eyeballs on your business, and helps you develop relationships. I can say this because this is how I built Unstoppable Women in Business. I have been an entrepreneur for, I think it's going on 13 years now. But my original business, my core business, Beyond ROI, I've never had to market. It is one of those businesses. I work with corporate clients, and they just find me, and I've been able to do that without very much sales efforts because I do it through channel selling. But when I decided to start Unstoppable Women in Business, no one knew me. Absolutely no one knew me. And I was like, okay, well, I'll put up a website. I'll start doing some social media, and I'm sure people need a business coach, somebody with sales experience like me. They'll find me. And I used LinkedIn a lot because LinkedIn is one of the networks that I've had for many, many years cultivating. So it was my primary network. But what I found out very quickly is there's a lot of people out there, a lot of folks out there. And so in order to in essence, create a brand, create a groundswell in helping people understand your perspective, your thought leadership. You have to become someone who is not shy, who's willing to go out there and put a stake in the ground and say, I'm willing to speak on this topic because I believe it's something that I know well enough, that I have a very specific way that I want to approach it, and I really want people to understand it. So speaking is one of those activities at top of funnel that is really very powerful. Why doesn't everyone do it? There's a lot of people out there who think of speaking as that unattainable, Mel Robbins kind of a thing, where it's big and it's flashy and you have to have a PR person in order to do it. And I think a lot of women entrepreneurs blow it up to be this thing in their mind that is just larger than life. And so they're a little intimidated about approaching it. And so that's why I really wanted to come here today and talk about speaking for the normal entrepreneur, just the woman who is, small to mid-size in their business and really has a burning desire to get out there and start speaking. It's not that hard. It really is not that hard. So let's talk about the different types of stages that you can get on. And the way that I built my speaking career and the way that I go to market using this as a tool, I think is very approachable for anyone out there. Like I said, I started from nothing. And within 3 years, I've built a really nice business and visibility for the business by utilizing speaking as one of my primary tools, top of funnel tools. So let's talk about stages. And that's just a fancy word for who's going to listen to you speak, right? So you can borrow other people's stages in essence. So you can speak in front of groups that are not coming to necessarily your event, right? So people hold events and they speak at events all the time that are, generated by their businesses. But when you're thinking about starting out as a speaker, borrowing other people's stages or contributing to other people's stages is a great way to get started. So think about how many networking groups you might be part of who have speakers come in, and they're looking for some thought leadership. They're looking for someone who can come in and be able to educate, entertain, and bring value to the people that they are gathering together. I did that a lot for several years, speaking at networking groups all over the country virtually and in person as well. And if you think about it, if you have an audience of 50 or 20 people and you are bringing some great thought leadership to them, those are relationships, eyeball to eyeball type of relationships that are hard to come by. Think of alternatives to that, right? If you're doing social media, where everybody thinks if you just open up a social media account, put up your website, you'll be able to build a business without any problem. But think about it. You go out there and you're posting and you're posting and you're posting. It's almost like you're just throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing if anyone even notices it. And it's flat. You might be doing reels, right? Or videos. But even when you think about the little snippet of time that you have within a social media to capture someone's attention, express an idea, it's micro, literally micro minutes compared to when you get a stage for 20 minutes and you can really, or 30 minutes or an hour, where you have the luxury of an audience, a captive audience, who you can lead through the story and help them understand the value of what you want to share with them. And they can get a real sense for who you are, what you know, the value you can bring them. I mean, that's priceless. That's priceless. So speaking is really an awesome tool where you are able to go out there and create a relationship with someone, even though it's a one-to-many ratio of a relationship. It starts the wheels turning for people to understand who you are and whether or not they would want to be able to work with you. So speaking is just a beautiful way for you to maximize your time in regards to that. Other people's stages, as I started at the beginning of this rant, other people's stages are awesome because you don't have to go through the whole effort of creating your own event, your own, kind of outlet. And so finding places to speak where you are able to borrow other people's stages is a great way to start out. I mentioned I did that through networking organizations is one of the easiest. There's a couple other ways that I highly recommend you looking for. So the first one that I'm thinking about is something that we'll put under the bucket of sponsorships. Okay, so there's a lot of summits out there. There's a lot of stages that people are putting together where they're looking for advocates, sponsors to come. Some of them are ones that you do have to invest in and pay some money to be a speaker at an event. But the rule of thumb is that if they are holding an event that they are asking you to pay to be a part of, chances are the audience is going to be a large enough audience that it will be well worth the investment that you make. Just vet it out and make sure that your avatar is going to be at that event, right? So find events that are in your vertical or will have your person, your ideal client there, and don't be afraid to pay for a sponsorship. As long as you know that you will be in front of a potential client that will be doing business with you, you can almost calculate the ROI. How many clients would it take? How many? I like to look at it even this way. If I'm speaking in front of a group that has 200 or 300 people, right, and I'm offering at the end of my my talk, I can offer something, whether it's a paid offer or a non-paid offer, but I can offer something that entices people to join my email list. Now I own that relationship between myself and that person. And what I mean by own it is that I have the ability to nurture the relationship through additional thought leadership, through helping them get to know me better by, any value that I'm touching or adding to my my community through my email list. Just the value of an email alone is worth speaking. You don't necessarily have to get paid in cash. Getting paid by being able to make an offer and having that relationship established is well worth, for me, it has been well worth the amount I have paid in sponsorships for events. So that's another way. So you can do it within networking events. You can find sponsorships that are great opportunities to get in front of your people. And then you can also look for situations like other people's podcasts, other people's groups. That's another one that's worked really well for me, is if I know that someone is running a group program, right? And they are my avatar, then doesn't it make sense that every once in a while they'll want to add some value outside of their expertise? Okay. So when you are someone, if you run group programs, you know that it is sometimes a challenge to be able to come up with content over and over and over again. Every time you're meeting, you've got the pressure of bringing more value to your people. So here is the ticket. If you're talking with someone who's running a group program and you have an avatar that runs the same avatar, but you do this and they do this, and you offer to bring value to that group, then you're actually solving a problem for that person who is who is offering the program, and you're able to solve the problem for them and be able to speak in front of groups that you wouldn't have been able to get in front of in the past. So creating partnerships with other people who are running groups or needing to have speakers, or someone just to add value to their group, is another awesome way for you to get out there and be able to create the audience that you're looking for. Okay, so that's another place where you can find it. I mentioned earlier, there's always podcasts. There's several different sources where you can find podcasts that are looking for speakers. I use two of them myself. One of them is matchmaker.fm, and then the other one is Podmatch. I like them both. You put your profile up there, you tell people what you're about, and then you take a look at the people who are running podcasts and make offers to go out and speak in their on their podcast. So lots of different ways that you can get exposure. So far, we've been talking about why it's good to speak and how you can find places to speak. The last part of it, though, and the part that's so important for everyone to understand, is it's not just getting up and speaking, but you have to be able to bring value, and you have to be very good at communicating that value. And so if you are going to be, if you're going to be out there speaking, you have to be really good at putting together what I call a signature talk. And here's what I mean by that. I think that everyone who is in business today is in business because they can solve a very specific problem. They're able to recognize the need that someone has of what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to transform to, and then they're able to solve that problem or bring a very unique perspective to how to solve that problem to their people. So that is what you need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt is, what is it that I do? How do I do it in a unique way? What is my perspective on it that is different from others? And then how do I communicate that in a way that people will find interesting and will get value from? And when you can answer those questions, you really will know what the topic, what your signature talk or what you want to go out and be able to speak on is all about. Once you determine that, then you're ready to put together, like, how are you going to tell people that this is what you do? A lot of folks are able to or create something called a speaker one sheet, which is just a really nice example of who you are, what the problem you solve. It's just your brand and what you've got to talk about, all in one nice, concise place so that you can share it with people who are booking speakers or who you'd be interested in speaking for. This is an asset that you definitely want to have. You want to have it done really well. If you're interested, or if you don't know what a speaker one sheet looks like, or if you are looking for different formats, please reach out to me via my LinkedIn profile or my Facebook profile. I'd be happy to share with you a couple examples of speaker one sheets that are really effective in outlining. Because if you think about it, somebody who is going to be booking you wants to know, like, how do I sell this? How do I tell people that this is something they should come to, pay attention to, listen to? So you've got to be very succinct in how you're sharing with them. This is what I offer. This is what I'm saying. Here's the key learning objectives or key points, key takeaways that somebody will get from the subject. Here's some alternative subjects that I could speak on. Here's my bio, who I am as a person and what I do. And here's all the links to all of the places that you can find me everywhere. You put that all together in one place and you call it a speaker one sheet. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. But it's also a way that you can get started very easily with very low overhead, and then step up from there into maybe creating a page on your website that has your speaker information. And then you might have something they call a sizzle reel, or a video of you speaking either virtually or in person. So here's the thing that I want you really to take away from this today is that speaking, when you think about speaking, it's not that big hairy monster that's only for people like Mel Robbins and Brene Brown and the folks that have PR machines out there. You can speak in so many different ways and step into the level of speaking that you're comfortable with very easily. You could start tomorrow. Literally, there's no reason not to. It's just taking one step at a time and determining what it is you want to speak about, who do you want to speak in front of, put the assets in place so that you're ready for it, and then go for it. Go for it. It's not all that hard. I know. I'm someone who likes to speak. I turn the camera on and I can speak to anybody, anywhere. So I do understand that there are folks who are a little more reticent about getting in front of people and putting themselves out there. But the risk of not overcoming that particular tendency is too large for you to not work at it. So one of the things in order to speak is kind of getting your mindset into who you are as a person and the thought leadership that you do have to offer people. And that is just a little bit of work that needs to be done in order to prepare yourself for it. So that is everything that I can think of that I wanted to share with you today about speaking. I think that is everything. Listen, if there is anything at all that I can do to support you, even just having a quick conversation to talk with you about where you are today, what your thoughts are around speaking, I can help point you in the right direction, maybe help you put together some thoughts around what you would have to do in order to create your signature program or your signature talk, a speaker one sheet, anything. I'm always happy to support any woman entrepreneur when she's getting out there and doing something new and different that's a little bit challenging. Sometimes just talking to somebody who's been there and done it really can make those big hairy monsters way more approachable. So I encourage you to reach out to me. My email is susan@uwibusiness.com. You can always get me on LinkedIn. My profile is out there under the same name, Susan Trumpler. I'm on Facebook, YouTube. Like I mentioned, I kind of like to talk. So until we meet again next week, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I'll talk to y'all later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.